Students filtered into the gym at Osakis Elementary on Friday to celebrate Healthy Hearts. The celebration actually had two parts to it. One was a celebration of the efforts the kids are making to raise funds for the American Heart Association, and the other to reward people who are proof that CPR training saves lives.
At the Heart Association, we like to say that heroes aren't born, they're actually trained.
Wayne Geary of the American Heart Association came to talk about the Hoops for Heart and Jump Rope for Hearts programs, but also to recognize the people who played a part in saving Dan Wessel's life. They presented 13 Heart Saver Hero Awards.
And that award is designed to recognize those individuals whose fast and courageous actions have helped save a life. And in the case of Kirsten Wessel's husband, Dan Wessel, helped save his life 2 times.
Kirsten Wessel explained to the students what happened to her husband.
Last spring, as you might know or might not know, while my husband Dan was umpiring a softball game in Wadena, he collapsed because his heart stopped working. And that's basically what cardiac arrest is. 3 men that were watching the game immediately came to his rescue and performed CPR until an ambulance arrived.
That story in itself would have been plenty to celebrate today, but an event even closer to home provided an even more heartfelt lesson in the importance of CPR training. The day this past December when Dan, dressed up as Santa Claus at this very school, was walking in the hallway. He collapsed after experiencing cardiac arrest, and that's when the other 10 heroes emerged. Ariel Chalmers was the first to act. For her, a little daydreaming actually paid off.
I just happened to not be paying attention in my Spanish class. Just watched him walk out of the room, and I saw him hit the lockers. And when he hit the locker, I got up and ran out the hallway.
Ariel says at that moment her father's advice stuck in her head.
He's always told me to never panic. Don't panic in any kind of situation, and I didn't panic. I just ran to get the nurse.
Angie Baker is the school's nurse, who within moments began to administer CPR. Another student, Brandon Giesler, actually got in trouble for messing with the school's automated external defibrillator unit at an earlier time. But that experience actually paid dividends on this day.
I was with my buddy, and he didn't know what it was, so I opened it because I didn't know what it was, and it started ringing really loud. So that's how I knew that it would make the sound when you pull it open. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known where it was if I wouldn't have pulled it open a year earlier. It was just first instinct to run and get that since Ariel ran and got the nurse.
Brandon quickly found and delivered the AED to Nurse Baker, and she revived Dan. Courtney Walter ran to call 911 to get the first responders, who eventually took over for Baker and got Dan to the hospital. Looking back a month later, the whole experience has perhaps changed the students the most.
Every time I look at him, I think of it. I can't not look at him and not think of it.
It really made all of us think about every day just to live it and not worry about everything else.
Who knows if any of these elementary students will become a hero one day. But Ariel says she and her classmates don't want to take any chances. They want CPR training now.
Actually, I think a lot of the students in the school want to take it, as well as not just myself, but everybody wants to.
We can't forget about the benefactor in the short term from all of this attention on heart safety. Today's ceremony provided Dan Wessel another opportunity to show his gratitude.
They were all so instrumental in doing what they did, and it's so awesome to have a day like this to actually honor people who can save somebody else's life.
As for Dan, he and his wife are not the only ones who are grateful for these heroes' quick actions. His grandkids attended the ceremony wearing shirts that said, "Thanks for saving my grandpa." And if the community of Osakis keeps up their focus on heart health, the ripple effects will continue to grow, along with the Wessel's appreciation of each new day of life. For the Voice of Alexandria, I'm Joe Kurkowski.